a podcast in an Uber, and part of why I'm doing this is because I'm all about giving myself new experiences. Yes, it is getting it into my skin, but also just doing something new, and it could be something small, like a big and Sean, thank you for letting me do this.
No problem.
It might be kind of annoying for you. I don't know.
No, it's fine.
All right. On today's episode, we're going to talk about why we chase the wrong people and how to stop. And what we're talking about is in relationships, why we chase the wrong people and also how to stop. So I want to first say that we actually need to chase wrong people. I mean, that's how you learn to chase the right people, right? It's like you don't know what good is until you've experienced bad. And so I want to just say that first because I think a lot of people, they get into relationships and they get very down on themselves because they chose the wrong person or they chose someone that was very similar to last time, right? The relationship is just a rotation of different faces, but you're falling for the same type of person. And yes, that happens, and that happens because of history repeating, because of things that happen unconsciously. That happens because you trace patterns. Right? Um, young is to be young love is supposed to be crazy and chaotic. Young love is supposed to not have lines and boundaries. You're supposed to experience all the quote unquote bad for you to now is is if you experience unhealthy and bad and you continue to experience unhealthy and bad and you don't want anything else for yourself or you don't have the ability, right? You don't have the ability to choose different. Now that's not good because then you're living a life where your relationships, whether platonic or intimate, are just unhealthy. And when your relationships are unhealthy, because we're not meant to do life alone, you are in a cracked container. I talk a lot about life containers and how the container we build ourselves either will act as a greenhouse, right? That's going to promote your growth, evolution, potential, or it acts as a prison. And if you don't have the ability, and most people don't have the ability until later in life, maybe like starting 30s. If you don't have the ability to choose different, to be aware of what's unhealthy, healthy, and to build yourself a safe life container, then your growth is going to be stunted. You're going to be grayed out. The scales your scales are going to be very dull. You guys ever see a fish in a dirty aquarium? Uh, the scales go very dull, right? And you put that fish in a brand new aquarium with clean water, different environment, and their scales brighten. And I think we are like that. We have the power to build our own life containers. And a big part of our life container is our relationships. So, why do we keep chasing bad relationships, unhealthy relationships? Well, a lot of it has to do with things you may not be aware of. And a lot of growth is being aware of what you're not aware of, right? Bringing the unconscious conscious, right? Unearthing what's underneath. A lot of times we chase bad relationships because it's all we know. It's because what was modeled at home when growing up was unhealthy and chaotic, you know? When I think about my story, what was modeled in my house was absent fathers, absent parents, mom and dad at work all the time, and didn't get a lot of emotional milk, as I say. And because of that, warped definitions of love. Also, mom and dad never showed affection. I've never seen my parents kiss. Old school Korean culture. My dad was an alcoholic, right? So there's a lot of dysfunction and unhealthy dynamics in my upbringing. Although I wasn't technically abused, it wasn't a safe space, right? It wasn't nurturing, and I didn't have healthy blueprints to trace. And so because of that, you grow up, and when you're in your 20s, you're not aware of wounds and attachment styles and why you gravitate towards certain people. You just go by instinct. You just go by what you feel. And so I gravitated toward the sticky, as I call it. I gravitated toward losing myself in love because that felt good. I didn't know that was unhealthy. And then I packaged it as romantic love. I packaged it as, this is what love looks like. You go down, I'm going down with you. Or if I go down, you go down with me, because that's romantic. And so that's what I chased. I chased this sticky, forever, there is no separation kind of love, and that love was powerful. And I thought because it was powerful that it was meant, right? So I mistook intensity for healthy. So the more intense the relationship was, I thought the more it was meant, or the more we loved each other because of the intensity. And then I learned later that was not true. That intensity doesn't necessarily mean healthy. And a lot of times, the lightning in the bottle, which creates that instant attraction and intensity, creates dysfunction, creates no boundaries, creates codependency, So anyway, this is kind of a long-winded way of saying that one of the reasons why we chase unhealthy love or bad love is because of our upbringing, because of what we're used to, because of what is not logical, but what was imprinted in our bodies, right? And so if our bodies only know trauma, dysfunction, distance, right? If our bodies only know suffocation, grabbing, codependency, enmeshment, if our bodies only know love that is conditional, well, we grow up and our bodies gravitate toward that kind of love. And we may logically know because we read things or watch videos or because our friends tell us. But logic is always going to be overridden by the unconscious, by what's running underneath, by our bodies, right? And so let's talk about how we stop chasing bad love, how we stop chasing unhealthy love. Well, the most powerful thing, I think at first it starts off by you realizing that this is bad, it's unhealthy, it may feel amazing, but it's not good for you, and it is a pattern, right? But the way that you stop after having that realization is to make a promise to yourself that you are going to choose different. And this is what's difficult. Different may not feel sexy. Different may not feel exciting. Different may actually feel boring, And then a lot of people jump ship because different is boring. Their body's not used to it. There's no challenge. There's no drama. And then they blame it on chemistry and they bounce. You have to swim past the breakers. You have to sit with it until it becomes the norm. And that requires a lot of reps. It requires time. So if you find healthy love, but you feel like there's something missing, there may be, I don't know, but stay with it until you do know. You know what I'm saying? Because you may stay with it and you may swim past what I call the breakers. The breakers aren't always chaos. The breakers also can be like boredom, right? Because if you swim past that, then there is going to be calm. There is going to be knowing. And this is where you give yourself the corrective love experience. This is where you give yourself a new experience that's convincing, not just your mind, but your body, that, oh shit, love can be different. And this is the ultimate goal. You stop chasing bad love when you start to convince your body of what good love looks like. When you start to imprint on your cells in your brain, this is what healthy looks like. This is good for me. And then you change your love buds. You recondition yourself, and this is a lot of work. This is uncomfortable. It takes time. And most people, I would say, do not reach this because of what I just said. Because it takes time, it's uncomfortable, and it requires you to look at yourself and also what you bring to the table. And who wants to do that? If you're like me, you just want pleasure, you just want love, you just want the feelings. You don't want to sit in discomfort, But I gotta say, this is also the miracle of love and relationships, because if you could actually recondition your body, give yourself a new corrective love experience, find healthy, well, then what you're doing is, and if two people are doing that, and you build a container that is greater than its parts, then now you guys have built your own treatment center. You have built something that can heal both of you. And this is the magic miracle of love. These are also notes that most people don't hit because it takes a lot of work. But if you can build something, and listen, in a way it's theory. It's my theory, after helping thousands with their relationships, and also going through my own journeys. But if you could build something healthy and sustainable, and this could also be a friendship, right? You could heal through friendships. It doesn't have to be just romantic love. But if you build something healthy and sustainable, where two people are taking responsibility, holding up mirrors, working on themselves, you create this kind of like force field that is super powerful. And this force field, this big greenhouse, then starts healing each other. It starts healing each other. And this is what love is about. And I think this is why we're meant to love, is so we could heal each other through the love once we find the corrective love experience. Ask yourself what that looks like for you. Ask yourself, again, this isn't just romantic love, it's also friendships as well. So if you're thinking, oh, well, I haven't found a romantic love, so, when can I do that? You can do it with yourself, and then with friendships, and then ultimately with romantic love. And it doesn't matter what kind of love. You can be non-monogamous. You can be, right. The format doesn't matter. Love is love. Hearts are hearts. Humans are humans. Uh, Ask yourself what it looks like to give yourself a corrective love experience, because most of us did not have one as a child growing up, and so we live with distorted blueprints, and we chase bad love. So ask yourself what that looks like, and then promise yourself you're going to run toward that. You're going to manifest it. You're going to work hard toward building that in yourself, with friendships, and ultimately with partners or partner. Thank you for listening or watching. You could watch on Spotify. Be well.